Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. As the saying goes, if you love tofu, you're probably going to live forever. And my son loves tofu. And he particularly liked this version of tofu that I cooked for him. Now, most people don't like tofu, I think partly because the tofu is not seasoned correctly, because tofu has a bland flavor. The other thing my son really loves, which might not be as good for him, is pork. He loves pork, and he loves almost any type of pork. So I decided I'm going to develop a pork dish. And if I can combine the pork dish with the tofu dish, then I will give him two things that he really enjoys. So this is my attempt in this video, is to create a pork dish and combine it with a tofu dish. And this combo dish that results in the creation of this dish that I think it turned out to be quite well. Now, this dish has some very unique characteristics because I cook the pork separately from the tofu. So I can season the pork in a way very different from the tofu. The end result is that you can get contrasting flavor and texture of the tofu and the pork. And I think this is the reason why I believe this dish worked out really well for him. So anyway, I'm going to show you how I cook this dish, and you can see the approach and the strategy that I take. And the first step in cooking this dish is to cook the tofu first. I use frozen vegetables for this tofu dish. Frozen vegetables turn out to be great when they are in small pieces. So this is basically a frozen vegetable mix. And it turned out that because of their size, they freeze extremely well. And this frozen vegetable mix contains 5 different vegetables. It has corn, carrots, green beans, peas, and edamame. Other than the edamame, you can buy the other 4 frozen vegetables in a mix. Of course, you can also buy them separately. At the same time, I take the frozen vegetable directly out from the freezer and add it to the wok. To season the dish, I first start out with some garlic pepper. Again, for the convenience, this is the best way to get the garlic flavor. Next, I use a sesame oil that also mixed with hot spice oil to it to give the dish the spiciness. To make it more spicy, I add some hot chili pepper flakes. This, again, you can make adjustment, and if you want it to be more spicy, you can add more. This is followed by the addition of soy sauce. And here, I use probably about 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. It all depends on how salty you want it to be. And my son liked the dish has a little bit sweetness to it. So I add about 1 tablespoon of hoisin sauce. And then, last but not the least, I add about half tablespoon of oyster sauce to give the dish an additional umami flavor. Now you notice that I season the dish at this moment because I want to have everything all mixed up before I add the tofu. I use 1 pound of firm tofu. I add them way toward the end. And the reason is that I want to stir the tofu as little as possible. So this way I already have the seasoning all mixed up. Now all I have to do is stir the tofu gently to warm them up. The culinary experience in eating the tofu is much better when they are stay in one piece. Tofu comes in many different textures. I start out with very soft, known as silken, soft, firm, and then extra firm. They give you very different culinary experience, and you can try them. At this point, I do another taste test because after you add the tofu, the flavor of the dish might have changed because of the impact of the tofu. I decided I'm going to make further adjustment by adding some additional soy sauce. I also like the dish a bit less sweeter, so I add some more hoisin sauce. This is how my son would like it. I have done a lot of flavor chasing, which in essence is trial and error in creating this dish. I have my son taste it multiple times, and he would tell me how he liked it. and consequently I was able to continue to make adjustments to reach the flavor that I think he liked best. Now, how he liked it is actually slightly different from how I like it. He preferred it to be spicy, where I preferred it to be less spicy and maybe a little bit sweeter than how he likes it. So as you can see, there's really no one good way to flavor a dish. And when some people tell me that, I have the best flavor tofu dish, and my answer is that it might be best for you, but it probably not best for other people, because each one of us have slightly individual preference. And this variation is what makes home cooking such a good approach, because you can adjust it to exactly how you like it. The next step is for me to cook the pork. I use a method known as shallow frying. The pork that I use is a cut known as pork loin, which is different from pork tenderloin. They are a little bit less expensive than the pork tenderloin. I was not sure which one would work better, but I decided I'm going to try this one because it is cheaper. I slice them into thin slices, and then I coat them with cornstarch together with some of my basic seasoning mix, which will give it a good umami flavor. I use a pair of long-handled tongs to lay out each individual pieces. Now, I cook this in my Cuisinart 14-inch stainless steel wok, which frequently known as a wok pan, because it has a large flat bottom surface area, which is about 9 inches across, about the size of a small frying pan. Now, this has a great advantage because I can use it as a frying pan, as in this case. So it is large enough for me to spread out all the pork in a single piece. I fried it on one side first, and then I turn it over to fry the other side. The reason that you notice that the surface of the pork start to brown is because of the coating with the cornstarch as well as the basic seasoning mix. It causes the surface of the pork to start to caramelize, and also as the temperature get even higher, it start to char. It gives the pork almost an appearance of being grilled. In fact, the flavor of the pork actually very similar of it is being grilled. Now, this method is an excellent method. It is truly a compromise between just regular stir frying as well as deep frying. It gives the characteristics of the crispy texture that you will get with deep frying, but at the same time it's much faster. Now, the dish is almost done. Next, I'm going to season it first with some hoisin sauce. I want to create a somewhat like a teriyaki flavor. So the hoisin sauce will give the sweetness to the pork. So I'm going to mix everything first, and then I'm going to do a quick taste test. Now, I decided that after the taste test, I want to have a little bit more saltiness to the pork. So I'm going to add some hoisin sauce, just a touch, not very much. I do not measure the amount of sauce that I add to the wok, mainly because this will allow me to make finer adjustments. When I cook, I will continue to do taste testing and add more sauces as I see necessary. This is the reason that I put my most frequently used sauces in squeeze bottles. So here it is. I cook them separately and I combine them together to create a dish that has very different texture, and this is what makes this dish taste great. And I enjoy it, and my son really like it as well. So I post a video each day to help you to make home cooking as part of your daily routine. If you'd like to learn more about my fast cooking system, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. So keep on cooking. I will see you tomorrow.